Hey there, tech fans! Ever wondered what RAM really does inside your computer? Today, we'll break down what RAM is, how it works, and why it's so important, all in simple terms. So let's dive in. We'll start with the basics. What exactly is RAM? RAM stands for Random Access Memory. It is a special type of computer memory that lets your CPU quickly access information that it needs right away. You see, inside your computer, the CPU constantly needs stuff, like numbers and letters and other data. So RAM is like the workspace where the CPU keeps all the tools and materials it needs close at hand. To understand this better, let's think about your desk. Your desk is kind of like your computer's RAM. When you're working on a project, you keep everything you need on your desk. Pens, papers, maybe a calculator. These things are just like data. Now imagine going to get a piece of paper from a filing cabinet across the room. That'd take way too long. So instead, you keep the paper on your desk within arm's reach. That way you can grab it and use it quickly. Your computer's RAM works the exact same way. RAM lets the CPU grab data super fast. It stores the most important information in an easy-to-reach place. This makes your computer feel fast and responsive. But RAM isn't like a normal storage spot. It's not where you save those cute cat pictures or your favorite songs. It's just a workspace. And here's the big thing, anything stored in RAM gets lost when you turn off your computer. Now that you know what RAM is, let's talk about its role in your computer. RAM's main job is to help your computer run smoothly. Let's say you want to play a game, listen to music, and watch a movie all at the same time. All of those tasks need RAM. First, your computer has to load the game, which means moving its information from the hard drive into RAM. Then the game uses RAM to keep track of your moves, your character, and what's happening on the screen. At the same time, your music player uses RAM to remember which song to play next. And your video player uses RAM to hold the parts of the movie that are playing. Without RAM, your computer would be way slower and it would have to load each game, song, and movie over and over again. That would be annoying, right? But wait, there's more. RAM also helps your computer switch between tasks really fast. Imagine you're playing a game and suddenly you need to send an important message. You can quickly switch from the game to your messaging app, type the message, and switch back to the game without missing a beat. Thanks to RAM, your computer can keep track of all those different tasks at the same time. Now, before we move on, I've got something cool to show you. Here's one of our computers. Can you spot the RAM? Yep, those long, skinny sticks with the tiny little chips on them. They might look small, but they're super important. Each stick holds 8 GB of RAM. And since we've got 2 of them, we've got a total of 16 GB. That means we've got plenty of RAM to run lots of programs at once, like video editors and 3D modeling software. But wait a minute, why does this computer need so much RAM? Well, it's all about how we use it. To make videos like these, we use tons of RAM. We've got video footage with graphics and sound effects. We're editing and trying to keep lots of stuff on the screen at once. And every frame, every little picture in the video uses up some RAM. Plus, our computer has to keep track of all the different programs we're using to edit the video. With 16 GB of RAM, we've got enough space to work on multiple videos at the same time. But what happens if we don't have enough RAM? Let's say we only had 4 GB of RAM. It would be like trying to fit too many things on a small desk. Everything would be cramped and it would be hard to find what we need. Our computer would start swapping stuff back and forth from the hard drive, and that takes way more time than using RAM. The result, it would be way slower. Some programs might freeze, and we wouldn't be able to work on anything. Imagine you're in the middle of an intense online match and your character freezes. Or you're uploading an important file and it stops halfway. Those things should never happen. So having enough RAM is super important. And if you're curious about how much RAM you need, it depends. If you're just browsing the web or checking emails, 4 gigabytes should be enough. But if you're playing games or doing creative stuff like video editing, you'll need more. Gamers usually go for at least 16 gigabytes, while professionals often use 30 gigabytes or more. Okay, now that we know what RAM does and why it's important, let's talk about the different types and sizes available. These modules come in different sizes. For example, this stick says 8 gigabytes. That means it has 8 gigabytes of RAM. Most computers these days have at least 4 gigabytes of RAM, but some have 8 or even 16 built in. Now there are even faster and more powerful kinds of RAM out there. For example, we use something called Road RAM in our servers. These servers hold all the videos you watch on this channel. They need lots of RAM to keep all that video playing smoothly. You can also put more RAM sticks in your computer. For example, if you've got 2 slots and put an 8 gigabyte stick in each slot, you'll end up with 16 gigabytes of RAM. It's kind of like putting together a team. Each RAM stick is a player, and the more players you have, the more stuff your computer can handle. Here's another neat thing about RAM. It's really small. Take a look at this. Here's a tiny little RAM chip. It's so small you probably couldn't see it without a magnifying glass. But it can hold 4 gigabytes of data. That's a lot of information in a tiny space. Now imagine cramming millions of these chips onto a single RAM stick. That's how RAM manages to be so tiny yet so powerful. We've talked about how RAM is super fast, but how fast exactly? Well, here's a quick demonstration. Let us see how long it takes to move a 1 gigabyte file from our computer's hard drive to its RAM. As you can see, it's done in just a few seconds. Now let's move the same file back to the hard drive. See how much longer it takes. That's the difference between RAM and your hard drive. RAM is thousands of times faster than a regular hard drive. And RAM isn't just about making your computer run faster. It's also about making it more efficient. Remember how the CPU needs stuff to work on? RAM lets the CPU grab whatever it needs super fast. That means the CPU doesn't have to waste time waiting around. It can keep working on the next task without stopping. In a nutshell, RAM is essential for your computer's performance. It lets your CPU work quickly and efficiently by giving it a place to store data that's needed right away. Having enough RAM means your computer can handle more tasks at once without slowing down. Now that you know more about RAM, it's time for you to do something awesome. Go ahead, leave a comment. Tell us what you'd like to learn about next. We love hearing from you. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe. New videos come out every week. Who knows? You might just learn something that blows your mind. Until then, keep thinking big and keep asking questions. The world of tech is full of amazing stuff, and you never know what you might discover next. So thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you in the next video.